I'm excited about today's guest. Dr. Samantha Amodeo is a seasoned professional in animal wellness. She is a doctor of chiropractic with certifications in animal chiropractic from the International Veterinary Chiropractic Association. Big mouthful, I know. She is also a certified canine rehabilitation practitioner from the University of Tennessee. For the past 9 years, she has been a vital part of the team at West Toledo and Perrysburg Animal Hospital, where she works with a wide variety of animals, both large and small. Dr. Sam has also been Dexter's rehab professional for the past year and a half, and I'm so happy to have her as part of Dexter's team, especially as he's almost 15 years old now. So, Dr. Sam, thank you again for joining me today, and a big welcome from me and Dexter down there taking his siesta.
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to be here.
But today what we're going to talk about is some exercises and things that you can do with your dogs at home to help with their physical fitness. Dr. Sam, can you tell us why canine fitness is so important for our dogs?
So, having your dog be physically fit is extremely important, especially as they age. So, if they have kind of like a really good upbringing where they're nice, physically fit and strong, where we don't have a lot of weight gain or different ailments like that, then they kind of are able to have a better longevity of life. They're able to get up and down the stairs a little bit longer. They're able to go on walks and family outings. Like, there's just an overall better well-being all the way up into their 15 and 16 age, as opposed to us possibly losing them around like 8 or 9 because they're not physically fit and well being taken care of.
So for those dog parents and pet parents at home who are wanting to help their dogs with their fitness, should they start with seeing a professional like yourself, or is it safe to kind of start some exercises at home?
That's a kind of a tricky question because I think a lot of it depends on the animal. 100%, I would love to be able to get my hands on every single animal and say, yes, we can absolutely start with these exercises, or no, we shouldn't. But all in all, it kind of depends on the dog and the age-related symptoms. If you have a puppy that you're not really seeing any issues with, you're kind of good to go ahead and start as long as they have a clean bill of health from their veterinarian. But if we start getting to the dogs that are like 4 and 5, we may start seeing some issues that I may say, oh, I don't want you to do this exercise. This may hurt them. So as they age, it definitely would be a good idea to seek some practitioner or something like that to at least get a good baseline to make sure you're not going to hurt the pet with these exercises.
So then, even though it's okay and safe to maybe start at home, it's probably, like you said, not a bad idea to at least get one evaluation. And like if someone contacted you, can they do one evaluation, or are they stuck into having a whole package they need to do?
No, they wouldn't be stuck into a whole package, and pretty much it would be kind of like a preventative evaluation type thing where you go and take measurements, all the quantitative data. I would put them through kind of a course of different exercises that I would say they can do at home. And if I feel like they're doing all of the exercises to the standard that they should be, then I can say, okay, yes, you're good to go on your own. Or if I see some ailments, like, hey, they're not doing a really good sit to stand. We have a lot of legs kind of flailing now and they seem to be uncomfortable or they're having a really hard time doing it. Then I can say, I do really think maybe a vet visit would be warranted, maybe some x-rays, because I'm not comfortable having your pet do these exercises yet because I'm seeing a lot of issues. Okay.
So if a parent is going to be doing that as a preventative, is that something that they can just call a professional like you, or do they need to have something from their primary vet as a referral?
Okay, so that's a tough question just because of the predicament that I'm in. I'm not a veterinarian, so for me to be able to kind of do a rehab consult or like a physical consult, I do need a referral. And all the referral would have to say is no issues or concerns, preventative maintenance. So they just have to talk to their veterinarian saying, hey, I want to go ahead and do this if you don't mind signing off on this. But if you seek out a veterinary rehabilitation practitioner, which you do not have to be in Ohio to do that, you either you have to be some sort of doctor, then you do not need that referral basis. So it kind of just depends on your laws, and it depends on the state that you're in.
Okay. So probably just
Little
not a
different.
bad idea to talk to your
Yeah.
vet first, see what's
Mhm.
going on, see if they can refer you, because they might have someone they actually recommend, you know, that
Right.
they've
Mhm.
worked with before too. So good. So for those that have the green light, are there certain exercises and things that you can recommend that they start with at home?
Yeah, so stability exercises are really good and crucial to a pets to help gain core muscles and not put so much emphasis on their backs. And we have a few exercises for hind end strengthening, a few for core strengthening, and a few for front end strengthening. So, like your typical sit to stand, you know, that seems to be very easy, but doing it 10 times in a row for a dog can actually get hard. We kind of call them puppy squats, is what we consider them as. And then doing that sit to stand, you incorporate your sit to a down, to a sphinx pose, to a stand right back up. That is really good for core work. And it makes it kind of fun too, because sometimes your dog will anticipate, oh, you want me to sit to stand? Like, no, I want you to sit to down to stand now. And it also, you gain a better bond with your pet as well, because it's not just taking them outside and going on a walk. You're now interacting them, and you're having a lot more mental stimulation for their brain too, that causes them to become more tired. So we have our sit to stands, our down to stands, a typical like incline stand and a decline stand, to where either their front legs are on an elevated surface or their hind legs are on an elevated surface. That's a really good exercise for hind end and front end awareness. Um, Three-legged standing and two-legged standing is a really good exercise as well. While they're standing, you kind of just pick up one leg, put it down, pick up another leg, and then like a two-legged standing, kind of like a yoga pose, would be holding up like a front right and a hind left, or picking up front left, hind left. So all of these things, they seem like they're pretty easy, but if you actually start doing it with your pets, you're going to notice that, oh, my pet actually may need to gain some core muscles. It's not as easy as it looks. And everything you want to start with wants to be on completely flat ground, no equipment at all. And then if they start doing really good on flat ground, you could add a couch cushion or some sort of yoga mat or ball or something like that, that gives them a little bit more of an uneven support. You could do it outside on the grass. Like, there's a lot of things at home that you can do with that doesn't use any equipment as well.
Yeah, and I know we always get excited about, you know, seeing the equipment. I'm one too. You know, seeing the equipment, wanting to, you know, jump on and get on and do it. But like you said, you want to start with stable first,
Yep.
work your way up. Or with
Yep.
cases like Dexter, you know, we started stable, worked our way up, and now he's getting older, so we're working our way back
Yep.
to meet his needs. Is
Yep.
there a general rule of thumb, like how many minutes, how many reps, you know, when they're starting, that they should do, or, you know, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so you want to look for things about being tired. You want to look for if the pet is withdrawn, an increased panting, if their form kind of gets a little off and they're not having a good time. If their ears are pinned back, you've kind of gone a little too much. A good rule of thumb is to start with 10 minutes, 2 to 3 exercises, and then kind of gauge and see where they're at. After these exercises, we do want them to rest probably for a good hour. And if they seem to be doing that and then they come up, you know, they're ready to go again, they're ready to walk, they're kind of in a good mood, then that's a good time period. Even some of our agility dogs, we never rehab them land exercise wise over 20 minutes. They usually get pretty tired. If you seem like you're doing something for like 30 minutes and they're not tired, then you can increase your repetitions or go from the land to stability or make it a little bit harder for them. And I usually start to say about like 5 to 7 reps at the beginning. If they seem like that's really easy, then you can go to 10. And I do have a lot of younger dogs, agility dogs that don't have any issues, do 20 to 30 reps of these things at a time.
And you mentioned, you know, a break after the routine of an hour to see how they're doing. Should they have a break in between the days? You know, should they be practicing every other day, or is it safe to try every day? You know, again, I look at Dexter, who's almost 15, and, you know, I try to do a little bit with him every day, but should I be practicing every day, or should I give him a break? Healthy dogs, we give them a break?
Yeah. Healthy dogs and younger dogs, you could probably do something every single day with like one day off during the week. But usually 3 to 5 times a week is really good. Sometimes even twice a week isn't bad either. Anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week is kind of what you want to strive for. And then on the other days that you're not exercising, one day you can get them a complete off recovery day, just kind of like people get. Or if you're not going to exercise them or do the stability exercises, then you would just take a walk with the pet, like kind of just keep their body moving and keep their muscles sound, but just doing it in a different way.
Yeah. And then, speaking of different ways, all the exercises, you mentioned a good handful, and we're talking about 10 minutes. They might not all fit into that 10 minutes. Should we try to practice different routines each day, or kind of focus on one thing and build that up, work on one thing one day, skip 2 days, work? Do you have like a plan that you like to see them follow?
I do, yeah. So we try to pick maybe like 2 or 3 exercises a day and then switch it up every day. So kind of just in the human world for working out, you may lift your biceps and triceps one day and then give those a 2-3 day off. That's kind of what I would do in this aspect as well. I would do like Monday, let's just work the quads and hamstrings and build up the back end. And then maybe Tuesday, now let's do all of our core exercises. And then Wednesday, let's work on our front end mobility and a strengthening, and then give them a complete day off. And you could absolutely use that circuit if you want to. But it changes their mind. It makes them not get bored, because a lot of times if you are doing a lot of the same exercises, they can get bored with it. So doing those things would definitely help keep their mind nice and bright.
Right. Yeah. They get bored, we get bored. Same old routine. Is there a resource or anything that either you have or that's available online that we can look at, what part of the body that's exercising, so that when we are rotating, trying to do the core, trying to do the back end, we can go, oh, this exercise kind of targets this and this exercise targets that?
I don't know if I have a resource online besides like my books.
Now you have homework.
I do. I have homework now because I could absolutely go look it up. We have I have that my whole big take home folder. Rehab. We always send a folder to go home with, and that's through, I think, Canine rehab exercises, but I may have to get back to you on that. There are a lot of good resources on YouTube as well. There are a lot of fitness instructors that do that. You also can search like safe canine exercises. Like, I don't really think I don't think the internet is a bad thing to use at this point. I think it is fine, but I will definitely have to get back to you on like home exercises and stuff. So that's the importance of having a rehab consult or like an evaluation, because those are the exercises. I will give you a handout of the stuff that I already have and what the exercises do, what they should look like, how to perform them, the reps, all of that.
Hi everyone, are you loving this content so far? Do you want to dive even deeper into the world of positive dog training and natural care? If so, you'll want to join my amazing community on Patreon. I have a variety of tiers to meet everyone's needs. Plus, by becoming a member, not only will you receive fun perks, your support also helps me continue creating the content you love. So thank you, and let's get back to the video. Are there any precautions when a pet parent is going to start some things at home that we should keep in mind? Can they start it when they are young as a puppy? Obviously, if they're older or senior or have issues, we definitely need to get, a vet, okay? But, slick floors versus carpeting, rubber, are there things that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, so I would definitely make sure you're setting your puppy or your younger dog up for success. That's going to be the biggest thing, just even like in training. You want to start on like a non-slick floor, put something nice and easy with very little distractions. Get a very high value treat because it makes them want to work a little bit more, almost kind of like a treat that you only use for exercises. Put them in a nice room with no distractions, and then you should be able to work them in that way. Now, any precautions, I would say I can't rule out in a puppy that we may not have any hip issues or anything like that. But if you notice that they started doing well with one exercise and all of a sudden it's been changed, that's kind of a red flag for you to seek out some sort of professional advice at that point. But you just want to think about setting your animal up for success and what the best way is to do that.
That's good. And it's nice to hear you talk about change. As a trainer, I'm always saying that if you have a change in behavior, that's something to take a deep dive and figure out why. They don't change because they change. So it's a good point. If they're practicing one thing and all of a sudden something's different and it's changed, either during training or in the future. So a great tip. Love that. We'll highlight that nice and big. Change.
Yes, change. We don't like change.
Change might not be good.
Yes, change might not be good.
So as we start working with our dogs at home, are there any signs besides change that you would say they should see their veterinarian or see a professional? Something might not be right. If they're working with their exercises, is there some sort of flag for you that you noticed?
Yeah. Okay. So if we're working on our exercises or even after our exercises, if we notice that once we start exercising them and then we're slow to rise from a laying down to standing up position, if we're reluctant to get on and off the furniture, if we're trying to perform that nice proper sit with a good tuck and one of the legs kind of keep coming out to the side consistently, if you have a really hard time with the three-legged standing picking up one leg over the other, that means we have an offloading weight distribution issue. A lot of times just reluctancy to get up and down. If you're asking them to lay down and stand back up and it's not really a nice fluid motion and it seems like it takes them a really hard time to do that, those are all issues that we can see that possibly we have some arthritis going on. We have some offloading, bearing weight issues. That's kind of when you start seeking professional help.
That's good. That's good to hear, and I know that, for those watching, Dr. Sam also sees some of my dog training clients, and she's going to see Mr. Haru coming up. And I was practicing with Haru on his downs on a platform, and he just doesn't want to get that butt all the way down. And so I thought maybe it was the platform, maybe it was this, but, to me, it's like, something else is probably going on. Good thing he's going to go see Dr. Sam so that she can check it out, and two, as a dog trainer, I know over my career, I probably had 3 different dogs in classes that struggled to do the down position, whether, they flop to the down or they just couldn't go to the down, and all 3 had like their knees done or something like that. Something was really, really going on. So, paying attention to our dogs, is so important. And go with your gut.
Yes.
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut.
Right?
You know your dog the best. So, yes, you know your dog the best. So you know when something is different. Yes.
And, veterinarians and professionals like Dr. Sam, they want to see your pets. It's not a burden. I've had pet parents say, oh, but I don't want to bother my vet, or, it's like, it's their job is to take care of you.
It's our job. Yes, it is our job. Yes.
Well, that's great. Well, Dr. Sam, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I know I always talk your ear off when I'm with Dexter and seeing you. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the pet parents and dog parents out there about fitness with their dogs or getting started? Any final thoughts or tips?
About like final tips, but I definitely think if you're struggling to bond with your dog, or if you kind of get stuck in the same old rut, definitely work on some different exercise. If it's too hot to walk outside when we're in the summer months, or if we're really cold weather, this is the perfect way to be able to exercise your dog, get really good mental stimulation. I promise you, your dog is going to be way more tired doing 10 minutes of actual fitness exercises than a 30-minute walk outside. So it's a different aspect to be able to do with the dog. Also, I recommend, just for like weight loss purposes, you can also take your dog the food they eat. You can work 10 minutes in the morning with your dog while feeding them their breakfast. And then that is their exercises for the day. Also, that's their breakfast for the day. So it's just a different bond and a different way of looking at your dog that I think will really help training purposes. It really helps the core and the ab work and seeing issues before they arise. So it's really fun. It's really fun and really cool. And also it's a better and a safe way to get energy out, as opposed to walking or letting them run or going on a bike ride for 6-7 miles a day. Like, it's a lot easier and a lot safer.
Good, great. Well, I really appreciate talking with you today, and I'll put all the links and information to you. And again, for those of you who are local to us in the Toledo metro area, Dr. Sam works at 2 locations, one in Toledo and one in Perrysburg. Her fitness is in Perrysburg. She does chiropractic in Perrysburg and in Toledo. And it's well worth the time, and you'll just love it. So thank you again, Dr. Sam, for joining me today. And Dexter and I will see you in a couple weeks.
Perfect. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
If you're enjoying today's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I dive deep into all things dog training, natural care, and healthy living for you and your dog.